I've got some incredibly interesting data to share with you today that is probably going to completely change the way you look at the future of Facebook and Instagram advertising. It was released as part of Meta's Q1 reports, and I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised. Let's take a look at what I mean. So I've got Meta's first quarter 2023 results up in front of me here, and I want to scroll down to this highlight section where they're highlighting some of the most important things, and some of these are things that are really important to us as advertisers. The first one here is family daily active people. Now, family refers to the Meta family of apps, so Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. Okay. Now, daily active users, fairly self-explanatory, was 3.02 billion, just over 3 billion, on average for March 2023, an increase of 5% year over year. So 5% more daily active users there were this time last year. Family monthly active people, obviously there are some people that don't use the family suite of apps every day, but might use it on a at least once a month basis, was 3.81 billion, an increase of 5% again year over year. So these are really positive numbers for us Facebook and Instagram advertisers, that more people are using the apps on a daily basis, more people are using on a monthly basis. That's exactly what we want to see, because those are the people that we're going to be advertising to. We get some more specific information, because a lot of people might be thinking, yeah, but Facebook's on the decline. It's actually just WhatsApp usage and Instagram that's propping those numbers up. Not true. They give us specific numbers for Facebook daily active users, which was 2.04 billion on average, an increase of 4% year over year. So not a massive increase, but an increase, which is great. And Facebook monthly active users was 2.99 billion, an increase of 2% year over year. So a lot of people, you often hear saying things like, people aren't using Facebook anymore, the number of users are dropping off. That is categorically not true. In fact, the opposite is taking place. More people are using the family of apps, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and more people are specifically using Facebook on a daily and monthly basis, which again is great news for us advertisers. And one other piece of information I want to highlight here before we move on to some more specifics is this ad impressions and price per ad. So they're saying that in the first quarter 2023, ad impressions delivered across the family of apps increased by 26% year over year. So that's far more ads being served. Now, of course, we can see that the number of users has only gone up by a smaller percentage, 5%, 4%, something like that. So that shows that Meta is serving more ads to people, because otherwise it would be at the same sort of percentage rate. So yes, some of that increase is coming from the new people, some of it's just coming from simply more ads are being shown in more places. And that increase in supply, if you understand sort of basic demand supply economics, should lead to a decrease in cost per ad served. And it is. You can see here that the average price per ad decreased by 17% year over year. So if we're looking at Q1 2023 versus Q1 2022, the cost to put your ad in front of someone was 17% less. And we have seen that in a lot of client ad accounts. We've seen lower CPM numbers, which is great. A lot of people want to moan about the platform. They want to blame it for the lack of results that they're getting. And honestly, a lot of that is just what's in their control. Make better ads, create better offers, put in the time and research to test new things and stuff like that. And we can see that across the board, there are more users to advertise to, and Facebook ads are cheaper to put in front of people than they used to be. Fantastic news for Facebook advertisers. So I want to get into a few more specifics and talk about what this means for us advertisers, other than the obvious, of course. Before I do, just want to quickly let you know about a free webinar I've created called 3 Killer Facebook Ad Strategies to Double or More Your Revenue. It's completely free to watch. It will show you exactly which strategy, which sales funnel you should be using for your business. You need to use a different sales funnel depending on whether you sell a $20 e-commerce product or a $5,000 service or things in between. That's why we cover 3 different options. I'd strongly recommend you go ahead and check it out. There is a link in the video description below. Click on that, go ahead and watch it. It's completely free. I think you'll be very glad you took the time. So this is the highlighted information, but I wanted to break down some more specifics in here and highlight a few things that are extra interesting if you're advertising on Facebook, particularly in say US and Canada or in Europe. So if I click across here, we can see there's a whole bunch of information detailed in here. I'm only going to highlight the things that are most relevant. We've got family active daily people, and we know that that's gone up because we saw that in the last thing, but you can just see this sort of mapped out quarter over quarter, that from sort of Q1 2021 over a 2-year period, we're seeing a significant increase in daily active people, similar sort of set up over with the monthly active people as well across the family of apps, which is fantastic. And then here we've got it broken down by geography, because that's another thing that I often hear when you see these positive numbers. People say, oh yeah, but Facebook and Meta as a company is really in decline in the US and Canada, it's really in decline in Europe, but it's just growing in the rest of the world, and that's why the numbers are increasing. That is also not true. Now, of course, the rest of the world, if you see the breakdown, that is increasing very quickly, as is Asia specific, if we go from that 2-year period. But if we look at, say, the US and Canada, we've gone from 195 million users to 200 in the daily active user category. So obviously that's not a massive increase, but more than half the population. It's very difficult to just keep growing once you've already captured so much, but it is an increase, which is really positive. In Europe, we saw a bit of a slowdown through 2021, 22. That looks like it's now heading on the way back up, which is great news. But again, we're not seeing a big drop off, which is what a lot of people seem to be saying. I think a lot of it is just to get attention, but it's clearly not demonstrated in the numbers. And then we see the same thing with monthly active users. In US and Canada, we've gone from 259 million monthly active users to 269. Again, if you think about the population of US and Canada, that is a huge percentage captured there. And then again, in Europe, we saw a bit of a slowdown through maybe 18 months ago, 2 years ago, but that seems to have been stopped last year and is now on the way back up. But again, we're not seeing big drop-offs. And then of course, in Asia Pacific, things are growing nicely, rest of the world, things are growing nicely. And this is all very positive news for us advertisers. So it's not just Instagram and WhatsApp. Facebook is also doing really well, and it's not just the rest of the world that's sort of coming online. It's also the core markets, the markets that a lot of people watching my videos are advertising in. They're stable or slightly growing. All good news. I think there is a really important lesson in this for us as advertisers and marketers, in that a lot of people that say that Facebook is dropping off, people aren't using Facebook that much anymore. That's because they don't use Facebook. And that's probably because they're part of a demographic that doesn't really use Facebook. A lot of marketers tend to be sort of very young. They're going to spend more time on Instagram. That doesn't mean that there isn't a massive market for it. For example, I don't particularly like cricket. It's not a sport that I'm into, but cricket has over 1 billion fans worldwide. It's one of the biggest sports in the world, has an enormous following, often in different geographies, but also here in the UK. I think it's just a really important lesson to learn. It's just because you don't particularly like something or use something doesn't mean that billions of people aren't using it. That's certainly the case with Facebook, and we can see that these numbers are improving and increasing. The other thing that I have to address, because I know some people will be questioning this, is the validity of this information. Meta is a publicly traded company. If they lied about this stuff, it would positively impact the stock price. They would be in so much trouble with the authorities around manipulating stock price. That would come under fraud. There's just no way this information is false. It has to be accurate. It would be crazy risk for them to lie about this stuff. So the future is looking very bright for Facebook and Instagram advertising and for us advertisers. However, if your campaigns aren't delivering great results, it's probably because you're not up to date with the very latest techniques, tips, strategies, etc. I'd recommend that you check out this video. In it, I go through the very latest stuff that we're doing, that we're seeing great results with. The platform is changing all the time. You have to stay up to date. And if you watch this video here, you will be.